This is the absolute silliest piano exercise that gave me the most value relative to how simple it is. I remember when my first teacher explained this to me, I was like, that's all you do? And he's like, yep, that's all you do. Now, what is this? It's called the 4-2-1 exercise, and it's specifically for increasing endurance or speed, and sometimes even memory. So what do I mean by endurance? Well, almost all of you could sit down and learn a few notes of even the hardest pieces if you spent enough time. Let's say 4 notes of the Brahms Second Piano Concerto. I'm quite confident I could teach even a first lesson student to recreate those 4 notes with enough time. Here's the problem. Could you do that and then add 4 more? Some of you could. Okay? Can you play a whole measure of that? Some of you could still do that, but you see the point. At a certain point, you will reach a skill barrier where you're not able to play the whole thing. And of course, very, very advanced pianists could just do the work and learn it all. But even for them, this technique will shorten that process. So 4-2-1 is about taking a small group of things, sometimes even 1 note, sometimes a group of 2, 3, 4, or 8 notes. And what you do is you repeat it 4 times before you move on to the next one, and then you repeat that one 4 times, and so on and so forth. When you're really comfortable with that, you then go back through the whole exercise and you repeat every group or unit 2 times. Then you do that, get comfortable with it, and then you go back and you repeat it all once, in which case you're just playing the final result. So let me show you how to do this and why it's helpful. Back to the Brahms concerto. If I just simply take 1 note at a time, I might have trouble playing through it because every note is bouncing around. And I would add pedal to this, by the way, just trying to sort of hold back for now. Now, the problem with that is a lot of people go, I can't do that when I'm first learning it. So what are you going to do? Practice really slowly. Great, do that. Or do this. Practice fast, but repeat everything 4 times. By doing this, you give yourself the initial strike plus 3 more repetitions to think ahead to the next note. So you can give yourself physically the feeling of playing it at speed, but you're actually playing it at a quarter speed, if that makes sense. Because I'm only having to get to the next note after 4 repetitions. So if I go, in effect, all I'm doing is this. Which, talk about slow practice. That's slow practice. So I'm just taking slow practice, using a physical impulse, which I'll show you how to do comfortably in a second, and using that to build the feeling of playing at full tempo, even though I'm not. Okay? And it just gives you more processing time while also sort of engaging that fight or flight mode in your body. So you're also learning the idea of the performance instinct beyond just the tempo. Okay, so here we go. You would do that for maybe every note of the whole passage and work on 2 to 4 measures in a certain day until you could do that. Then you go back and you do twice each, which effectively puts you at half tempo now. So let's see. Which is, let's see, certainly faster, but still nowhere near where it needs to be. The thing is, I've just taught myself to bounce at that speed, and I've gotten significantly closer to the end product. So now I go back, and this isn't so hard. I just had to play a little more because it's just so glorious. In any case, that's part of the hack. Now let me show you kind of how to relax, because the first objection I always get when I teach this is, how can I bounce that fast and not get tense? Very valid question, by the way. However, it doesn't need to be an excuse not to do this. You just need to do it a different way. So in order to stay loose, remember this quote. Followed me before, you've heard me say this like 5 times. Where motion stops, tension starts, okay? So if I do this down, up, down, up, down, up, that may look like I'm in motion, but I'm actually not, because you can be in motion in the wrist, and then from the elbow hinge, and from the shoulder, which is a left and right, outward motion. So this is up, down. This is sort of up, down, / in, out. This is left and right. If you are not in motion in all 3 of these places at all times, tension will start to creep in, because when motion stops, tension starts. So you might feel light in the wrists, but by going up and down, you're probably locking up here and here. I can already feel it in my shoulders. How I avoid that is I vary the wrist height by starting low and going high. So there's this follow through. That creates motion here, relieves the tension. In order to then accommodate it here, I go a little bit, just a little bit in and out. So that's always in motion, so this doesn't lock up. So like, you can see my wrist height changing, and you can see my elbow going in and out in a very small circle. And then how I relieve it from the shoulder is I just kind of constantly create a very small amount of space between my torso and where my elbow is, and that gives me breathing room. So this is relaxed, and that's relaxed, all while recapturing the nose. And if you're doing it in groups of 4, it will feel like a gentle circle. So you get 4 of these, 4 of these. See, so I could do this for hours and never tire because I'm bringing a natural fluidity into it. It would be like if you're riding a bike and maybe the wheels are spinning, but the spokes are locked or something. Like, I don't know, if you could somehow remove the 2. Just imagine one part of the bike locked up and the other part of the bike moving. The whole thing is locked up, right? You can't have part of it move because the other part is preventing it from moving. So you can't just move here and then have this locked up. If this, and this are loose, then you're always loose. And it goes both ways. If everything is loose, nothing ever tires. So that's how people can play these 2-hour programs, which, by the way, I have given 2.5-hour recitals solo with some of the hardest repertoire in the past. Rite of Spring, Schubert D Major Sonata, Rachmaninoff, Chopin Etudes, Debussy Les Joyeuses, all in the same show. And how I got through it was these principles of relaxation. So this was just a bonus piano technique video as well. But this is how you increase your endurance. And before you think, oh, that only applies to chords, no. You can apply this to whole groups. So Chopin Ocean Waves Etude is a great example. Which apparently I need to brush up on. But what I would do here is the first group of 3 notes, and then I would turn it around so I can loop it as a group of 4, like this, and then create 16th notes and do each beat 4 times. Then I would throw the hands over and do it again on the next one. And then so on and so forth. So you do 4 here, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. Every group, every chord is now 16 beats. And what this allows me to do is feel very relaxed in each one, develop an immediate sense of the high tempo without having to immediately always throw my arm. So I get a little bit of relaxation built in, and then I throw it, and then I relax and throw it. And eventually that translates to actually playing it. So it would look like this. Oh, wait a minute. I was about to do 6. Sorry, here we go. Keep in mind you have to reverse the direction on the way down. Reverse. Okay, now I go to 2 each time. Reverse. Okay, and then eventually I'm going to remove that gap and I can nearly play at tempo without repeating them. feeling the lack of practice recently on that, but the point still holds. And what I would say is when you're trying this, if you're experiencing tension, remember the middle of this video. Where are you slowing your motion or freezing it altogether that's then causing the tension to creep in? When motion stops, tension starts. Do not forget that part of this. So that's basically it. There's the 4-2-1 exercise. Try it out. Let me know in the comments how you feel. And don't forget to get my free piano guide in the description, as well as check out my Key Learners Piano Club, which is the top link. If you have any questions about it, just let me know and I'd be happy to answer. It's been changing lives for the last year. I launched it last July. Still, so many of my followers don't even know it exists, which is why I talk about it at the end of every single video. I'd love for you to come check it out and see how it can help you. See you next time.